is Mona Sierra Manglonia from Rhoda. You may proceed.
The garment industry, torn in shreds. The Puerto Rico dump, a contaminated pile of waste. The Rhoda Casino, a bad gamble. The Tinian dynasty, the end of an era. Why does the CNMI continue to put stock in these developments and fail to commit to them? It is about time we do. The Northern Islands are our clean slates. They are our second chance to prove that the CNMI is well capable to bounce back from its failures. But for a pocket of time in the CNMI's history, the three most populated islands are Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan. We are at the zenith in which we are faced with the decision to populate the Northern Islands. This decision is thrust upon us through the question of whether economic development should pursue for the Northern Islands. For many of us, being displaced from our homes can be frustrating and inconvenient. Around 1980, several residents from the Northern Islands had to relocate to Saipan because of volcanic activity. And because of the lack of economic development in the Northern Islands, these displaced residents face the fear of never being able to see their homes again. This fear is very real for two displaced residents whom I recently interviewed. Mr. Gus Litulumar, a former resident of Agrihen, expresses that we need our government's help in order to sustain and develop life in the Northern Islands. Mr. Gus Kaipat, a former resident from Pagan, agrees that economic development will help revive the Northern Islands. However, we must prioritize the environment and respect the views of the former residents of the Northern Islands. For the past few months now, the political leaders of the CNMI have been taking the stance vocally that the CNMI is one. It is time to take action and to prove to our Northern Islanders that we mean what we say. It is no secret that the CNMI has endured very hard times. However, the first step to solving any problem is recognizing that there is one. We must learn from our failures in order to find solutions for the future. It is in the hands of our leaders of the Commonwealth Government to enact legislation that encourages economic development in the Northern Islands. The feasibility of economic development in the Northern Islands relies solely on the commitment we make to sustain and preserve the developments we choose to carry out. However, with economic development comes another issue: environmental sustainment. We must put precedence in the preservation of the natural resources and the aesthetics of the environment. The extent of development should not obliterate the natural sustenance that the Northern Islands provide, in which we are very much fortunate to encompass. We should embrace the beauty within the islands in order to entice tourists to come and experience a once-in-a-lifetime natural and cultural voyage. The ecosystem in the Northern Islands is at this time flourishing with life. Pollution is minimal, beaches are pristine, flora is thriving, and fauna is profuse. Now, contamination and corruption are not unfamiliar here in the CNMI. Look around. The waters around the CNMI are polluted. The sewage system leaks out into our oceans. Abandoned and desolate buildings are scattered all across the three islands, and even our own residents infringe hunting laws. The Northern Islands are indeed our clean slates. Let us not reflect the past on the future of the CNMI and the Northern Islands. We must preserve the beaches and the waters of the Northern Islands. An excess of hunting should not be tolerated in the Northern Islands. The natural ecosystem should not be disturbed and should be conserved for future generations. Now, something small can have a huge impact. There is proof that other smaller islands have generated revenue through exposing their natural beauty to the world. Ecotourism. In an interview, the famous magician David Copperfield talked about a small group of islands he owns called Musha Cay. Musha Cay is an exotic and ideal place for someone to escape the trifles of this ever-so-speeding world, to slow down and rediscover peace and tranquility. Celebrities and high officials have stayed at Musha Cay, and we too can do this. Another success story would be the volcanic parks in Hawaii. Tours are offered around the volcanoes, and tourists are not only able to learn about volcanoes, but are given the chance to leave their footprints on Kilauea's and Mauna Kea's lives. 1.3 million people visited the Big Island of Hawaii in 2011. Approximately 7 million people visited last year, all with the same purpose, to experience something new, not to lounge around by a pool. They wanted an adventure, something that only a preserved island can offer. With technology taking over and nature being destroyed, natural beauty is rare, which is why tourists want something different. Why does the Sina Mai have only 3 plans for the tourism industry? Plan A, casino. Plan B, casino. Plan C, casino. Let us open our minds and approach this predicament in a different and more natural way. Let us work together to beautify our islands. Let us come together to entice tourists to experience something different. Let us finally invest in us, highlighting our cultures, both Chamorros and Carolinian, preserving our natural resources, and showing that we value what we have will surely invite tourists and generate revenue. Now, I invite you all to imagine with me. Ladies and gentlemen, our first destination is Pagan. To my right is a black sand beach. Its onyx color shines like silk as the sea drifts to and fro. San Bonito, so gorgeous. There is the natural hot springs and a majestic active volcano. Many travel thousands of miles to see these wonders, but there they are in our backyards. Now over to Agrihen. Here you can stay at a beautiful eco-lodge built with natural resources to mimic the ancient Chamorro homes, yet still have the necessary amenities of today's world for convenience. There is the Chamorro and Carolinian Cultural Center, where you can watch and be a part of cultural dances, taste cultural food, listen to cultural stories and legends, and learn to appreciate the people of the Marianas. Also in Agrihen, you can visit the untarnished beaches, with its marine life exploding with color all around you as you snorkel. Become one with nature. Be nature. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a journey to great and fantastical possibilities. Alas, we must return back to reality here in the Sina Mai. Ladies and gentlemen, let me not be the only one to dream this dream. Let us work together so it can become. An approach to development through the preservation of the Northern Islands' natural resources and beauty is what will capture the interest of tourists all around the world. The foundation of our pride is our uniqueness. Let us put an end to emulating what others have done and what we know does not work for our people. Let us capture our pride once again in harnessing our uniqueness through offering what only we can offer through the Northern Islands. See you guys, mas.